plenty stuff is in Taurus right now. The sun, the moon, Mercury, North Node, all that. And well, yeah, might as well call it retrograde Mercury because it's like day and a half away. But I think I'm kind of tired of everybody being afraid of Mercury retrograde because there's nothing to be afraid of because, only the people who are afraid to figure out why they're afraid of all things, something that you have complete control over, which is your response to it all. Okay. First thing everybody needs to know, and I got to remind myself of this always, which is you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So my interpretation of everybody freaking out because, oh my God, retrograde, what am I going to do? I'm going to go hide. Well, that only tells me that you don't want to pay attention to what you need to fix. Okay? Retrograde is a time for you to be very, very careful, to pay very much attention to everything that has to do with Taurus. Okay? And also, my favorite, new moon Taurus. We're, at the beginning of spring 2023. We have the sun in Taurus, the moon in Taurus. We get Mercury in Taurus and North Node in Taurus. What does that mean? It means go outside, go plant, go, take your dog for a walk, go to the park with your kid. Hell, go to Trader Joe's, go get fertilized organic eggs and make the buggers, hatch. That's what it means. It means new things, new ways of being. The only people, like I keep saying, like I've said, in the past, I have another Mercury retrograde, that kind video. The only people who I think are worried about retrograde are the ones who are worried about, right now, they think they're just doing everything fine and good. Okay, we all like to think that we're doing everything fine and good and that, in our own, I guess, life as who we are, we're as good as we need to be. Okay, well, let me go see you walk on water. If you can do that, okay, then you don't have to worry about anything. But most human beings that I know of, including myself, we're not perfect. We all, most of us, when we go take a dump, it all comes out the same place, right? Right. So, in like kind, instead of going to hide, just go through it. Go through it. Feel how it feels. Stop being such a wuss. And that's a lot of what I feel. This is my opinion. Everybody's so damn touchy about everything. There's no need. And what are you getting all defensive about? I was told earlier, that I need to be nicer. No, I don't. I just need to be real. I just need to be truthful. And yes, sometimes it could come out a little nicer, but I'm not just going to go about being nice to people just to be nice to people. I cannot do that. I did that all my life. I did it all my life up until 5-6 years ago. I was really nice to people. You know how that turned out? Not very good. If you knew my whole story, you would understand why I cannot be nice to people. So when we got Taurus retrograde, Mercury, where that niceness is, okay, for me, is now not so much I'm going to get in your face. But if you don't listen, the first couple times I say something, then I'm pow. I don't have anything left to say to you. Why? Because you keep doing the same things over and over and over again. Right now we have Saturn in Pisces. And, with Saturn in Pisces and then everything in Taurus, and then you get Jupiter Aries. Well, lots of people going to be not very happy. Why? Because every time retrograde comes around, it is our chance, it's our opportunity to not to not avoid being less than perfect. And I really believe that that's, if you go online and you go look at all of these warnings that all these astrologists, which I'm not an astrologist, I'm an astrologer. ER denotes doing things. Doer. You can't be a doist, right? Right. So when you think about what each of these planets and each of these signs interprets out to, okay, you have plenty of people on this planet who most recently, especially since all at one time, all these things is in Taurus, and then you have Saturn Pisces, and of course Pluto is retrograding back to Capricorn until the beginning of next year. What does that spell out? Well, it spells out, people's money and their power and their greed gonna come to a screeching halt, and that's going to happen. The disciplinarian, which is Saturn, Pisces is the believers, great big ideas, great big delusions, great big fantasies, all this kind of stuff where you're telling yourself that, gonna be like this forever and ever. No, it's not. Okay. I know somebody who is dealing with that right now, with somebody who fancied themselves as being a tenant, had this kind, safeguards in place until this person, this friend of mine, decided to throw Saturn at this other person and did what they had to do to rectify things. And so, as time goes by, I'm sure I will hear more about what is going on in that person's life. But, to have it that people just going to keep on taking advantage and advantage and advantage and advantage, Saturn is not going to do the work for you. Saturn is just going to be in your face and remind you again and again and again of what you need to do. And with Saturn being in Pisces, the reins are being tightened on the things that we are delusional about, the things that we think are the truth, okay, our beliefs. I believe that's Pisces. And then you throw Pluto in there with, Capricorn, that's CEOs of gigantic companies, that's big government, that's everything big, big, big. Big, 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 and empowered by climbing up the hill to success and greed. Greed is a big factor in the sign Capricorn. Now, I'm not saying Capricorn people are greedy. They can be. But everybody is prone to being greedy. The energy of Capricorn is, making it to the top. You don't care who you got to run over to get there. That is Pluto. That is the dark side of things. That is massive power. Massive, plutonic kind of power. Well, we're coming to an end of that. Okay, we're coming to an end of that kind of power in charge, but it's not going to happen, like I said, again and again until January. All right. And, as time gets closer to that, I'll be back with something about it. But today, you go through the sun and the moon and Mercury and all, everything I keep repeating. Well, like I said last time, that's banks, that's the gold standard, that is, Taurus is the ruler. It's Venus ruled. So if you go and you look up Venus in Taurus or Venus in Libra and Taurus co-rule Venus. Okay, so with all these other things going on, and I just said that so that you would have kind of an idea of the energy of Taurus according to its actual own planet, according to its sign. If you went to go look it up, in fact, go look it up. Don't listen to me, only go find out for yourself. Go and do a web search. Venus in Taurus, and do not look at, If it's in your chart, please go and look up things like the characteristics of planet Venus in the sign Taurus. Just like that. Okay? Don't settle for what is there and what everybody else tells you. Take it apart. What is Venus like? What is Taurus like? It rules the second house. That's self-worth and all the kind of stuff that you think is beautiful, but is also what? It can be lazy. It can be entitled. It loves to overindulge. Okay, so it would cause us, if Venus was Taurus right now, it has the propensity to cause us to overindulge in pleasurable activities, depending on the house, the house it's in. But right now, the sun and the moon and Mercury and the North Node are all in the eighth house, which eighth house is, especially with Taurus there, other people's money. If you watch the news, I don't care how boring it is, watch the news. Go watch C-SPAN. Go and Google things about the Federal Reserve. Go Google things about, people who are high-powered. All the guys, like the guy who owns, what is it, Amazon, Virgin, freaking, go look up Elon Musk. And at the same time, hell yeah, go look up the guy on the, the beer can. Even though lots of us don't see that as being any kind of powerful anything. Look at how much sway that bugger has over the entire world in one way or the other. Myself, I don't like it. Why? Because I was born female, that's why. And no try erase me, brother. Because, I won't lie. Came down to it, I would be choosing violence every time. No, but, well, maybe. Anyhow, so talking about the new moon, a couple days ago, I stated, you can go plant any kind of plans you get now, but don't wait for 2 weeks from now because nothing going to happen. You got to wait till 6 months from now when the moon is full in Taurus. So we have a lot going on up in the sky right now. If you really want to know, do not pay attention to these guys getting on there. Your sun is this and your sun is that and blah, blah. Forget that. Go and look at what is going on in the world and see how it pertains to you. Because anybody can tell you about your sun and your moon and your Mercury and your North Node, and you can go put them all together like one damn recipe. That's not getting the whole thing, okay? That's like seeing videos on Instagram where you get two guys in there going, when the sun is this, you're going to act like this. And when it's like this, you're going to act like this. Maybe. Not always. I take people by surprise when I tell them, no, I'm a Pisces. You are a Pisces. You don't seem afraid. You don't. Duh. Why? Because there's the rest of my damn chart. And the chart that is mine is interacting with the mundane, astrology of the moment, which is affecting all of us. So it's kind of half-ass to go, okay, I got to go read my horoscope today because why? It may not apply to you. You may have other factors that would cause you to behave like another sign that is not yours. I get that one a lot. I am mistaken for a Libra, an Aries, a Leo. Scorpio is a big one. Well, of course, my sun is in the 8th house, which is Scorpio ruled. So you cannot just trust. You can't trust all these, I call them astrology recipes. You actually got to go cook the bugger. You have to put all those things together. You have got to go and experience the way it is in real life. Okay? So when we're talking about the new moon in Taurus, hell yeah, set down, plans to do something Taurus related. Today, I went and, continued on mine and my friends' garden boxes outside, checked on all my baby plants. They all grow in my garden, my vegetables. And that I would do those kind of things on the first day of the new moon, specifically in Taurus. Okay, because a couple days ago was in Aries, right? When you do them in Taurus, with everything else in Taurus, you go wait 6 months from now, what you think going to happen? Well, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to be sitting my happy ass over there eating everything I was growing. And in like kind, life is the same way too, yeah? So when you think about all these Taurian things and things that have to do with Taurus and things that, comparing it to your own moon, right? How is your moon playing with the one in the sky right now? Okay, my moon is Taurus. Mine is, happy. But that is how you actually do this whole astrology stuff. You don't go, oh, I'm going to have this kind of day today because, this astrologist, that person went say, oh, it's going to be like this. And the only way that it ends up being like that is if you allow it. And Mercury Taurus retrograde, whatever, won't let you do that. Will not. It will, people, it will throw hands up. You will have a hard time following somebody else's advice, words, fear, whatever. Retrograde is not for us to be afraid. Okay? I don't know how many guys watch NCIS, but there is one thing that the character Ducky said that made so much sense to me. And the only way to get through hell is to go through it. That's what this is all about. Mercury, retrograde. The only way to get through it is to go through it. So why not learn something, especially in Taurus? My goodness. So, eventually go and look those things up. Mercury and Taurus, not as it applies to the chart, it drives me crazy. There is a whole bunch of other ways to look at it, but everybody's so worried about their damn self. I'm going to hide. No, hide, learn. More easy to learn that way. Next time Mercury is retrograde, you know exactly what to expect. It's not a time to hide, it's a time to pay attention. And well, lucky for you is new moon. So you can make that plan of how you're going to go about this 6 months from now. Okay. So even though lots of people going to tell you should be afraid because it's Mercury, no, you're just going to be uncomfortable. Learn to live with your discomfort. Mercury retrograde affords you with that, especially this one. You get them on the same night as the new moon in Taurus. If you create it now, you go plant it now, you put the seed down now, while you're learning how to go through things. What do you think going to happen in 6 months if you pay attention? I don't know too. Maybe you should try it out. I'm just saying. Okay, babies, that's it. I'll be back next time. Aloha.